everybody. I'm Dr. Hassina Kajee, and today we have the most amazing woman, and I'm so glad and thankful that Lisa Raleigh, the one and only, has agreed to be interviewed. So for those of you who don't know, Lisa Raleigh is a personal trainer. She's a nutrition coach. She's a life coach. She starred on SA's Biggest Loser, and she's had a lot of media involvement with espresso, doctor's orders, and she's also an author and, very importantly, a mum. And Lisa is the founder of Lisa Raleigh Bounty sort of products. And I mean, I think you're a brand on your own, obviously, Lisa. And Lisa is passionate about health, not just fitness, but she's passionate about attacking, it's a bad word, but embracing health from every corner, from the nutrition aspect, from the fitness aspect, from the sort of mood aspect, from sleep. And this is something that she shares regularly on her platform. The reason I invited you, Lisa, is because of your zest for fitness and for how you obviously want to empower everybody to just embrace fitness. So thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you, Hassina. Thank you for having me today.
So Lisa, what I'd like you to start with is just share with us rebounding. If I say the word rebounding, I'm sure not everybody knows what that means. So you have a very special story about how your rebounding journey started. Can you share that with us?
Sure. So firstly, rebounding is not bouncing back from a relationship, okay? Because that is a big misconception when I chat to people all over, and when I talk about rebounding in a little group or, school moms or wherever I am, and I say, rebounding, and they go, what is that? I'm like, what rock have you been living under? But there are so many people that still to this day do not know what it is. So let me explain it in real layman's terms. So most of us know trampolines.
Mm-hmm.
We know those big trampoline parks that you go to and you enjoy with your kids, and generally have a bit of a bad rap when it comes to injuries and only one person bouncing at one time. And it's a very different thing having a trampoline in your backyard or going to a big trampoline park and doing those high jumps, and you kind of feel that you have to be a certain fitness level or weight or age in order to participate. Rebounding is taking the concept of jumping on a trampoline but making it accessible to all for home use or studio use on a small rebounder. So they can come in various shapes, but mostly they are round or hexagonal. Okay. And it means that they are portable. So you can train pretty much anywhere, anytime, and you're empowered to make the decision of when you are going to do it. So you can do it next to your desk, which I'll show you all of you in a little while, or you can do it in a studio setup if you're an instructor, or you can do it in the comfort of your lounge or bedroom with nobody watching, following an online program. So really it's about exercising on a mini trampoline. Okay, so that is what rebounding is. Now, there are lots of different ways to rebound. There's your very, very, very moderate or even light training where you can hold on to a support bar and you barely lifting off the mat and you're just enjoying the compressions where you're stimulating and pumping your lymphatic system, which has its own benefits, which I'm sure we'll get into in a bit. And then you get your more intense rebounding where you're utilizing your weights and you're boxing and you've got high intensity music and you're really, really getting your heart rate up and you're burning lots of calories and it's lots and lots of fun, but it's a little bit more hectic. And then you also get your rebounding for therapy, which is for those that are injured or they're aged or beginners or individuals that are incredibly overweight, and that's more your sort of rebounding. So you have your different levels of rebounding, different programs, different equipment, different music, tempo. So it's got a little bit of not a bad rap, but a preconception that it's for your very, very fit individuals, because you see those trending videos on TikTok with human beings bouncing on a trampoline rebounder with a handlebar and their knees are by their ears, and it's intense. And because of that
scary.
wow factor, it goes viral. And I get sent those links all the time. And we have to constantly try and educate people as to that is not your traditional rebounding. That is intense. You have to be fit and you have to be quite advanced to get to that level. And I wouldn't even recommend rebounding like that, even for myself. So that is not what it is. We have clients that are in remission. We have clients, patients with cancer. We have those that are incredibly overweight. We have those with low muscle tone and PCOS and all kinds of conditions that are rebounding in a very light fashion and enjoying the benefits of doing it in that way.
Right. But Lisa, I read about your postpartum kind of promise to yourself. Can you just share with us? I mean, I'm a fitness fanatic. I can't sit still. I cannot not work out. I worked out after doing 30 or 36-hour shifts. I would have to work out. It was for my mental health, my physical health. So I totally get with you not being able to exercise for 3 months after having your baby. And you're, as a mom, you're needing to find your sense of self again. So can you share a little with your journey that I think will resonate with people who are struggling to move, and how that's impacted, your life and your journey with rebounding?
Okay, so I have been rebounding on and off since I was a young girl. And the reason for that is because I was a gymnast, ballerina, and they always incorporate a trampoline to be able to get the heights and all the somersaults. So I was very familiar with the whole rebounding like modality, if I can call it that. Now, I had one in my gyms. I used to be a mobile personal trainer as well when I first started, and I would always take a non-foldable rebounder in my boot from client to client. And I would use it as a station to get your heart rate up in between the strength moves, like circuits. And that was really the extent of how I used a rebounder for many, many, many years. Then I fell pregnant and I gained a lot of weight in my last trimester, like really a lot of weight. I gained 21 and a bit kgs when I was pregnant. For my small frame, that was a lot of weight. And there was many factors why. I think the inactivity towards the end didn't help because I had like my pelvis separated. And I heard the click, and it was very painful for me to do any movements where one foot was in front of the other. So I had to modify. I had to do cycling, and I really don't like cycling, on a recumbent bicycle towards the end, a little bit of Pilates and yoga. I just felt so frustrated. And then I had Bellaboo very early. I had a very scary preeclampsia kind of birth, and it was touch and go at one point. And it was very scary. And afterwards, well, I had an emergency Caesar, and then, the whole drill, you can't exercise for 6 to 12 weeks, depending. So that was very frustrating. That last trimester, gaining all that weight and being kind of immobile and frustrated, and then being told I can't exercise for 6 to 8 weeks until I got that gynae clearance. I was just going off my head because I need to exercise because of the fact that it just helps with stress. It helps with sleep, anxiety. It takes that edge off. It helps me to cope with day-to-day stressing and stresses. And so it was a huge factor for me. So when I was given the all clear, I said to myself, my pledge is I will never, ever, ever not exercise again in a typical day unless I'm sick, or, when I had COVID or something like that. Then fine, I have to respect the fact that my body needs to heal and rest. Besides that, my body can move, and I'm going to celebrate the fact that it can, and I am going to promise myself to move every single day. And I do that. And I have never, ever skipped a day unless it's been one really, really hectic week of shooting. Then maybe I'll have a day off and I listen to my body. But that was my pledge to myself. So when Bella was 5 months old and I was really just not shifting the weight, that whole theory that you just shed all your weight if you breastfeed is a really nonsense for 50% of the population. So 50% shed, and I was told, don't worry about it, you're just going to lose all that weight. Well, I tell you what, I couldn't lose any of my baby weight, even though I was exercising for those first few months after getting the all clear. And I was still so big, and I was finding it really hard to run and do the normal weights and gym work that I did before because I was feeling so heavy. So I'd go for a run, but then my hips would ache and my pelvis would throb and my lower back was sore, and I just felt so inflamed and so pain, like just in pain all the time. So then I got my rebounder out. We went away for a month actually to our farm in the Midlands, and I took my rebounder with, and to this day I'm just so grateful that I did. And the one thing that I did notice though, whilst trying to rebound daily was the fact that there were so few kind of online programs. There were these standalone YouTube workouts, the same people featuring all the time, and there was no sort of zero to hero kind of beginners program or foundation program or postpartum program, anything actually. And I kept doing the same program over and over until I knew the ladies' next steps on my own. And without good Wi-Fi on a farm, it was quite tricky to kind of, it kept stopping and starting, and it was very frustrating. But in that month, I felt a huge difference in my water retention, in the puffiness all over. I felt like I'd lost some body fat and swollenness in centimeters. I felt happier. I was definitely fitter and stronger, more coordinated. And I came back to Joburg and I was like, I am going to take this rebounding thing and I'm going to educate people. I'm going to study further. I'm going to start practicing with all of my research as well as my exercise science experience to date, which was 15 years of experience. And I'm going to develop my own bounty philosophy. At that stage, it wasn't called Bounty. Only in 2020 did we name the entire brand Bounty, but at that stage, it was called Bounce Back. And I'm going to develop something that is very unique and that takes into consideration all the important exercise elements that make a routine whole. And that is your warm-up and your cool-down, your strength components, your cardiovascular components, your flexibility, the lymphatic pat-down, a lot of core work, your proprioception, balance, all of that. So I started developing this program, and then I started shooting like at-home workouts, and then I started taking classes in a venue. And then I started taking a lot of clients on these journeys and started seeing the most incredible testimonials. And so I started developing these programs, these 8-week and 12-week and all different ones. And then I also started training instructors around the globe on how to become a good rebounding instructor, because there really wasn't much out there for people to learn how to do it in a different way, not your crazy knees to ears way, but in a really balanced, wholesome way that incorporated all the aspects of fitness. So so that was kind of like the journey. And since then I've been rebounding for 5 years, and Bounty has grown, and COVID definitely helped because so many people were bouncing, wanting to exercise at home.
Well, I think Bounty helped help people through COVID, because suddenly you had access to a community in your own home and something fun. I mean, I've bought one of your rebounders and they're it's arriving today, but I have like another brand that's not as good as yours, that I got off Marketplace for my kids when the pandemic hit and schools closed and they were doing online schooling. And so it was literally there for them to shed all the energy and all of that. But let's talk about the health benefits. So for myself and my family and my medical practice, and any of the patients that I see, exercise is an integral part of health. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows that you feel better, that you sleep better, that your anxiety levels are improved. But when you delve into the science, you actually see that your mitochondrial health improves, your inflammation in the body goes down, your mechanisms for reducing your blood sugar improve. So you're lowering your blood sugar readily. It's another modality to become more insulin sensitive. And so I see a lot of female patients, and we have a lot of female patient or female students on the Nutrition Network community. And for women especially, I mean, I often tell people that in the olden days, we did a lot more work. We built our own houses, we lifted heavy weights, we squatted.
Our own bread.
We ground things, and so nowadays everything is automated and has a button and all these things. So for myself, exercise is really important, and it's a huge modality for the health benefits, the scientific and the medical health benefits. Talk to me about what you advise your clients and the health benefits. I know you're also affiliated with the Cancer Foundation.
Yes. Okay. We actually just had a webinar a couple of days ago around cancer with all kinds of incredible guest speakers. And just one crazy stat was that only 5% of breast cancer is actually hereditary, and the other is all lifestyle related. So that means that the rest of the individuals that are getting cancer, it's because of what they are doing, which I think is pretty insane
Switching
stats.
on the genes, it's the epigenetic
Yes.
mechanisms that, which is
We are
something
out of control, more control than you think you do.
absolutely
You can't just put your hands up saying, well, my mom had it, so I'm getting it.
right.
That isn't the case. So that stat was huge. And the fact that if you exercise, the chance of actually getting cancer is reduced by 42%.
Right.
What? I mean, that is huge. So anyway, I just had to throw that in there. But when it comes to rebounding, so there's going to be the cardiovascular benefits. Okay, so when you're on a rebounder, you are on an unstable mat surface the entire time. So all your little muscles, all your ligaments and tendons, as well as your big muscles, are all activated because they're trying to find equilibrium. They're trying to find, that balance, but they can't, because for as long as you're on that
You
mat.
want to show us this? Yeah, please, as
Yes,
you
I'm going to show you when I move from this location
okay,
to where
sure.
my little home office is,
Okay.
because the lighting there isn't as good, and then I'll
Okay.
show you what I mean. So
Right.
you're unstable the whole time. So you're burning more calories per second than if you were to stand on land. Okay, so
Right.
the calorie burn is really high. But what is incredible about rebounding is the way that it is very unique. It is the only exercise where you are jumping below the horizontal ground surface. So if you
Mhm.
think of going and doing a jumping squat on the ground, you're going to stop at the ground, let's hope, right? Because that's gravity, you're stopping on that surface. But now you take a rebounder, which is 20 to 30% higher than the ground, and when you jump, that mat surface is going down, it's dipping down. So you're going below the ground surface. You're actually working sort of with gravity, but the gravitational force is, depending on which rebounder you use, is anywhere from 2 to 4 times the G force
Right.
the gravitational force. It's 4 times. So you are working, everything that you're doing is 4 times harder.
Okay.
So the pull on the muscle is 4 times greater. The calorie burn is much higher. Now we all know, well, if you don't know, that the more you tax the muscles, the more bone density you're going to, with the higher your bone density is going to be. You're going to be able to stimulate that bone density. So what's nice about that is you are going to be helping patients or clients that have osteopenia, osteoporosis, early onset, and you're going to help them to build up their bone density. And that was that big study with NASA many years ago, where they took astronauts that had come back from space and their muscles had all broken down and atrophied over the time and space. The weightlessness causes muscle atrophy and bone atrophy. Put them onto rebounders and saw such incredible gains in strength, muscle mass, and in bone density that they were like, whoa, this is what we're going to do now every time when our astronauts come back from space. So that working against that G-force means that you are building lean muscle tissue. The unstable surface is working all your little ligaments and tendons. The fact that so many muscles are recruited at the same time means that your heart rate is higher. So when you start bouncing on a rebounder, it's higher than just jogging on the ground. So bang for your buck is incredible. So cardiovascular exercise, tick. Strength training, tick. And then what is very cool is the fact that it's 70 to 80% less impact on your joints, ligaments, and tendons. So if you have
Right.
weight to lose, if you are heavy at that time, you're on a mission and you are heavier, or you've got an injury like a sore knee or sore hip or sore back, and from doing too much running or do an accident or whatever the case is, the rebounder mat surface is soft and it's forgiving. So you can do a lot more on a rebounder than you could do on land without the pain. So that is
Right.
what's incredible, is a lot of our clients that say, I can't run anymore, I can't do this, I can't do that. We put them on a rebounder and they feel weightless and they feel light and they feel free and they can do so much on a rebounder, and then their heart rate goes up and their lean muscle tissue goes up, and yet they are not in any pain, which for me is a huge thing. And then lastly, what it does to your lymphatic system. So therefore helping to detoxify the body and clean the lymph and stimulate the lymph, which is very important. I mean, the lymphatic system is a huge system. They call it the water of life, and more fluid than the blood, and yet no pump, no natural pump. We have to move our lymph. And because of the vertical action of rebounding, that acceleration and deceleration in a horizontal plane, it is very good at stimulating our lymphatic system. And that is why it gets the big cancer stamp of approval, because of how it helps to stimulate your lymph. So it helps patients with lymphedema, it helps patients with autoimmune diseases and compromised immunity and high risk of cancer, even patients that are undergoing treatments. It helps to keep the lymphatic system moving. And it's so those are the benefits. So health benefits are it actually carries on and on and on for children, and then mental health and all of that. But those are the main factors of why rebounding is really, really so good for one's health.
So, Lisa, that's amazing. You know, a lot of people are so anxious when it comes to exercise. If it hasn't come naturally, if it's not something that you watched your parents doing, then it's not something that comes naturally to you. So, when somebody is just beginning, to buy those shoes and running tights and put yourself out there, or get into a gym, it can be so very daunting. And I know I've had to hold my patients' hands many times, just walking them through the journey. Many people prefer to get a personal trainer coming home. Um, can you talk to us about how rebounding, you know, for people who are not really fit, how they can slowly grow? I saw an interview that you did with someone, and I forget, I think it's a musician, and their health journey, and how they went from not feeling confident and not being able to go very far, and now doing a marathon rebounding session. So can you give some hope to people who want to do better, who want to improve their fitness and health goals, but they're just not sure? I mean, people feel to go outside and just walk down the road for 5 minutes, people feel, oh, I didn't do great. But if you've got a rebounder in your home, you can do 1 minute. You call them fitness snacks.
Yes,
Exercise snacks, which I
yes.
love. And that's something that works for me as a working mom. I can do it. I incorporate it as part of our morning HIIT training, or any time in the day. So can you talk to us about how those bite sizes can actually improve your health overall?
So I think a lot of people think that, so just to tell you why I'm a huge advocate of exercise snacks. So science does support the fact that doing 1 hour of gym, going to the gym, doing that 1 hour, and then having that shower, getting behind your desk, and then sitting for the next 8 is not as good for your health and your lymphatic system and your metabolism as exercising throughout the course of the day, rather. Okay,
Right.
so they're two different things. The one is going to stimulate your heart rate and reduce risk of heart disease and all of that, because your heart rate has to get to a certain sort of intensity or a certain level. But the other is as important, which is your lymphatic system, which I think is what people forget. So what is beautiful about a rebounder is that you can do it in the closet, you know, if you really wanted to. And that is how my stepdaughter, who's now 21, started. She was in matric. And she was really suffering from sleeplessness, anxiety, stress, and all of that. And she hated exercise. She was really overweight, hated exercise and sport, allergic pretty much. And I gave her a rebounder, and it stood there in her room for quite a while until she decided, okay, I'm so anxious I can't sleep. Let me just bounce and try to get rid of some of this energy. And she started doing that on a daily basis, and it started to help. And she started to sleep better and have less anxiety. And so she started to become, you know, a little bit addicted to it. And so she would rebound at home in her room with her closed door, with her own workout gear on, nobody there to judge, no makeup, her own music or soundtrack. And so this started, and I just saw this child go from this little riddled anxiety ball to this beautiful, beautiful person who she is now, who's as fit as me, who's my size, who's healthy, who doesn't have the anxiety anymore, who's got clear skin. And it's just, it's changed her life. But what I love about it is just that you can put it next to your desk, which I'm going to show you, and you can get those little 1 minute snacks in between every Zoom call, or every 1 hour doing emails and sitting down. You need to set an alarm on your tracker or on your phone, bzzz, and that's just a reminder, hey, I need to move. And you can get on that rebounder and you can just do a basic health bounce. You don't have to do anything wild. And there's so many different things that you can do on a rebounder, so many different programs. We have rebounders that are low to the ground, rebounders that are bigger, rebounders that take 150 kgs. We have rebounders that come with support bars so that you can hold on in the beginning phases until you get a little bit more confidence. And we have beautiful, beautiful programs that are from 2 minutes. They take you from 2 minutes to 5 minutes in your whole week, your first week. And they slowly build you up incrementally and progressively over a period of time so that you can slowly you improve, and you get access to these programs for many more weeks than what the programs are, so that you can repeat a week over and over until you feel, okay, I'm ready to jump to the next week. So they are they're big into safety, and there's a lot of motivation. The music is a big thing. There's a lot of technique guidance to make sure you're doing it right, and hand holding, inspiration. And it's not just like follow something on YouTube and give it everything you've got. And what happens if you haven't learned the fundamentals? Like a lot of new moms need to be taught how to hold those Kegel muscles in, and how to retrain their pelvic floor, because there's a big problem with ladies when they've given birth, whether naturally or not, where they feel like they need to urinate. And so I train them how to get through that and how to retrain the pelvic floor. So over a few months of consistent rebounding, they no longer get that sensation. And that has been a life-changing thing, because they can now go hiking with their friends. They can go to the beach or go to a school game or do the egg and spoon race without feeling, what happens if I have an accident, you know?
Yeah.
So that's been very empowering for a lot of our
And
ladies.
that's something real that people don't talk about.
Yeah, it's huge. So, where to start would be to buy the right rebounder. And I'm not using this as a sale opportunity. I'm really talking about, and you'll see when you get yours, you'll be the first one to say, Lisa, I can't believe the difference between buying the cheapy models from your big shops, which are very, very cheap, and they don't have tapered springs, and the kind of the spring goes straight into the frame. So it's a very short, jerky, jarring bounce. It's really bad. I mean, and the fact that they don't have any spare parts. So when something gives, you have to buy a whole new rebounder every time, which is crazy. You might as well have just bought the better one in the first place, you know? So yeah, we have the right programs to hold hands. And just to say one last thing, we do offer free online classes every single day of the week for free, and it's free forever. So as long as you've got your good rebounder and a couple of home accessories, you can log on, sign up for our free classes, which are hosted on Zoom every day with our instructors, from your B2B, back to basic classes, which are 30 minutes, and they're slow with a support bar, right up to your HIIT, your high intensity, good for hubbies too, sort of your unisex program. We've got ones that are more Pilates focused. We've got one called Boga, which is your bouncing yoga, so more yoga and calm meditation, mental wellness focused. We've got ones that are more dancey focused. So for your teenage girls, we bring in a lot of dance and movement into those classes. There's something for everybody, and those classes don't cost anything. So there's like really no excuse. You just have to get the right rebounder and show up online, and we will do the rest.
So what if somebody, can you just, we're talking about rebounding. What are the dangers of getting the wrong rebounder, especially if it's not, I know that you go into great detail on all your videos, of which I went through the entire journey for months, I think, trying to figure out which was the right one for me. And also for the family, because we're a very active family. So just to caution people when they're going out, if this is a modality that appeals to people, then what to look out for to make sure that they're doing the best thing for them in terms of safety.
So the rebounders that you'll find in the store, I mean, they are generally very small, light rebounders with a flimsy frame. Most of them don't take more than 80 or 90 kgs, even if the box says so. You'll have a heavier person jumping on, and a spring will give. And then, like I said, they don't have spare parts. They don't have a repair center. So you just have to throw it in the bin. So then you have to go buy a new one. And they have very, very short, stiff springs. They don't have a tapered spring, which has got a bulge in the middle, and the spring has to be attached to another element which goes into the frame in order to give it a soft bounce. Otherwise, you might as well jump on the ground. It is so hard. It almost comes to a dead stop. That is not rebounding. Rebounding is meant to be forgiving. That 70 to 80% absorption of your body weight is what you need when you're a beginner and you're a bit heavy, So buying your store-bought ones can really be a bad experience, and that's why I wish they would stop calling them rebounders and just stop selling them altogether, unless they are going to sell good ones, because it gives the rebounding world a bit of a bad name. Like, I wish that you could only buy good ones in this country, because you're going to go and buy a beautiful program maybe from Bounty, but you're going to go get a cheapy rebounder and have a bad experience. You're going to hurt your back or hurt your knees, or something's going to go wrong, and then you're going to hate rebounding. But when you buy the yes.
Can I just say that jumping on the little one that we have, which is the big mass-produced one, I felt so dizzy that I thought, oh man, this is never going to be for me, which is crazy because I've spent my childhood on a trampoline, and I thought, is this like what getting older feels like? And I'm that eternal teenager who can dance forever and ever and ever. And then I found getting a little bit more kind of waiting for my deluxe bounty rebounder to arrive. I've been getting a little bit more adventurous. And this morning I could feel the energy in my clavicles. I could feel, I was like, this is the reason why you should get the right one. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, we have this little test in our studio where we have the cheapy model, we've painted over the logo, next to our spring model, which is our entry-level rebounder, you know, for its affordability, it's portable, etc. And we say to our clients, jump on that one and then jump on ours. And you just, their face, they're like, oh, my back, or my hip, or oh, the
Right.
back's feel good. Or, you know, if you've got bigger breasts as well, then it hurts there. It's just so jarring. So you cannot compromise. I mean, we have 7 different models of rebounders now for every different age group, stage, width, foot length, portability, a budget friendly, your deluxe one, which is your Rolls Royce locally export ready made rebounder. I mean, we have everything for every person's needs. So a big thing you have to ask is who's going to use it, because some of our rebounders take less weight, so they're a bit lighter, which is nice for portability. They're a little bit more affordable. But if you've got some bigger people in the family, then you do need to go with the models like the Spring or the Deluxe that can take that weight. And then, do you want to take it with you? Because that's important. We've only got 2 that fold at this stage. So if you just want to always have it out, then you don't need to worry about the folding aspect. But if you want to take it with you on your weekend getaways, or you know, you're a busy working person who doesn't have time for the gym when you're traveling, and you want to take it on the plane like I do everywhere I go, you need to buy one of the 2 models that are portable. So there's questions you need to ask yourself in order to choose the right one.
So Lisa, will you please show us what somebody who doesn't know anything about rebounding can do? And then as you're climbing in your fitness journey, if you want to add, we've got lots of people who are already cyclists and sports people and CrossFit people. So how can they use that? Just a few.
So I'm going to walk there. Can I turn my camera off for like 20 seconds?
No
Otherwise,
problem.
see my whole bedroom and everything. Okay, so give me
Sure.
1 sec. Okay.
So while we're busy with Lisa, this is just an opportunity to show you that you can get your fitness from wherever you want to get your fitness, whether it's rebounding, whether it's high intensity training to a video in your home, whether it's hiking up the mountain, cycling. Just find something that works for you. Find something that, and for the practitioners that are watching this, it's so important that you have in your toolbox a multitude of options for your patients that are coming to see you. Because when you tell your patient that you need to exercise, you need to give them Dr. Ben's option of exercise so that it's quick. We can give them Lisa's option of exercise. Just have a variety of things in your toolbox. So here we go. So Lisa's going to show us a few moves on her rebounder.
Here's the outfit. I have cold.
You look great.
Fluffy socks, but at least they match, right?
Perfect.
So here's where I work at home. Like, it's my little home desk. And then I always have a rebounder next to my desk. This is a bigger rebounder, so this is the deluxe rebounder because I like the extra space, and I'm not going to fold this one up. So it's always sitting here, and I think just lift the laptop a little bit. I've got my lady helping me tilt the screen back a little bit. Yes, okay. Can you see me now?
I can see you.
Okay.
Perfect. That's perfect, Lisa.
Okay, so I mean, what I would do in between, I'd be on Zoom calls like this one, I'd be on meetings and like emails, and oh no, I've been sitting for, you know, an hour, I can't do this. I'd get onto my rebounder and I'd just do the basic health bounce. I mean, I wouldn't. This is what I tell my clients to do, is just this. Get your lymph pumping. Move side to side, like that. Okay, maybe do some calf raises up onto your tippy toes. Little basic jogs, like that. Okay, tummy tights, nice flat feet, just moving. Some twisting for the spine. Okay, loosening up the back. I would do things like that because I'm very used to rebounding. But doing 1 minute, putting in a song, maybe a little meditation, I'm amazing, I'm loved, I'm strong, like that. Or you could be listening to voice notes, or you could even be on a Zoom call and you could be on mute. So you're listening in, you don't have to talk for a while, you know, you've got your earphones in, and you just bounce a bit whilst you're listening to the call if your camera's off or whatever. you know, or at night while you're watching Netflix, why do we have to be schlumping on the couch? We could be
Absolutely.
moving, you know, moving. So you need, and there's a little support bar that you can get as well. So you can hold on if you feel the need to hold on for your first month or two. And then we also have lots of accessories, weights and ankle weights and very cool things that you can utilize on the rebounder for strength gains. So it's as easy as just putting it
Awesome.
the whole time and just getting your bounce on throughout the
Right.
course. Yeah.
And you could do it anytime you feel. If you're tired, you can take a break, come back later, do a minute, and just use it.
I get my 10,000 steps in the day.
Right,
I
right.
have to do a class this afternoon at 5 o'clock. I can get 10,000 steps in my day by just doing, you know, my every hour, 2 to 3 minutes, and you're getting about 1,000 steps in each time you do that. And by the time I actually get to 5 o'clock in my working day, I have already done 10,000 steps. So I've
Oh,
got
that's
almost,
fantastic.
I don't know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you for all your information and for your passion, mostly for your passion, because what comes through very clearly in the work that you do and in the products that you make so easily accessible, including the workouts and the fun social media videos, is your passion for health. And I think that is something that we can both connect on from Nutrition Network, for myself personally, with the work that you're doing, that really health is something that we take for granted. And you don't want to be on the opposite side once you've faced something catastrophic, and to start to prioritize. We want to teach our children that this is how we should be living all the time so that we can create a better, healthier society generation after generation. So thank you so much for all you do, and thank you so much for your time, and all the very best with what you're doing.